The KOA development team have expressly forbid any probationary content creator that works with them from making a video discussing the upcoming KOA strike on the 3rd of July. I personally see that as censorship and will not agree to be censored at all. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing the upcoming strike, how you can get involved, what the demands are, as well as why it's so important to actually participate. Let's go and have a look at all the details regarding the KOA strike on the 3rd of July, 2021. Hey guys, Mountain here, bringing you a breaking news corner sort of video. By now, some of you will have heard about the strike that's coming up, but you might not know the details of it, or you might not even be aware of the strike at all. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over the strike itself, when it's happening, what you need to do, how you can participate, what the demands are, and why it's so important to actually participate, if at all possible. So before we do this, I just need to make a few things quite clear to you guys, and I'm going to be switching screens here so I can show you. We are the content creators that have, or a couple of us are content creators that have been chosen by KOA to represent them with the content that we provide. However, they have also put on a lot of restrictions and are censoring the content creators and not allowing us to be able to actually share the real truth of what's happening in certain situations. So, for example, here I've actually got two screenshots that I wanted to show you guys. We'll start with this one over here. We received from our contact the following message. Due to some feedback, I want to inform everyone that all content creators are not allowed to create any content about the 2021 strike. Now, there are obvious reasons for that. They have a potential loss of revenue coming in and things like that, and they don't want any of us whose platforms they might be sharing to be looked at negatively. What I basically mean is, let's say, for example, with the last video that went out, okay, that they shared, I think it was Heretic's video. They shared Heretic's video. Now, because they shared his video, they're saying to their players, this is somebody that we want you to look at and look at his other videos, okay? But players like myself who speak out against the game when they make mistakes or when they do things wrong, like in our Soleil video, for example, which, by the way, 9 out of 10 things got fixed because of that video, or got changed because of that video. Because we speak out about it, we don't get seen as favorable on the KOA development team. And they have put rules in place to stop any content creator that was going to be working with them from actually making any negative videos or saying anything negative about them at all. Here's another screenshot for you guys. Now, I've blurred out the name because obviously I'm not doing this so that you guys can go and target anybody. I'm doing this so that you guys can see, because I believe in 100% transparency. I do not believe in censorship at all, and I do not believe in purchasing someone's soul for a few in-game items. So it says here, first of all, I want to say one thing. I'm glad you can join this team. If you choose this team, I hope you can abide by the rules of this team, because you are one of KOA's content team members. I don't want any of your behavior to be negative for KOA. For example, I found that content creators did not make strike videos, but some creators still support strikes in the game or on other servers. So freedom of speech is out. If you're on one of the servers and you happen to say something about the strike, it goes against you. If you say that you agree with the strike, it goes against you. That's straight out censorship right there. You're not allowed to even talk about the topic. I don't want to see this happen again. If you have any feedback or suggestions on the game, you can discuss with me instead of participating in strikes or other negative things. A strike is not negative. A strike is it's a planned process where the players or in one party shows the other party why they are unhappy and what they can do to actually repair the relationship. It's only negative if you see it as negative. And when we go through what the demands are in the strike, you're going to see that it's actually extremely positive. And this strike can help KOA really, really proceed further, better, and earn more money, technically. So it's actually in their favor to do this strike and to show the people that they're trying to make it what they want. But we'll get to that just now. The second thing is that all team information, including game materials, game content materials, team rules, rewards, and team chat information is prohibited from leaking. If you violate the rules, you will be removed directly and you cannot apply again. If it causes some serious impact, you need to take responsibility. If you feel unable to comply with what I just said, please let me know. Otherwise, I think everyone agrees to the team's rules. So they're basically saying that if you don't follow those rules, if you make any content of any form of negativity, if you say, for example, the wall 3 that they had in Soleil 2.0 was absolutely trash. They listened to the feedback and made it easier to beat, but instead of listening properly and making it a little bit easier to beat, they made it so easy that it went down in a quarter of the time that wall 2 went down in. It's just ridiculous. Now, if I make a video on that, I will be kicked out of this team. Again, that's censorship. I then replied, does this mean that if we find a problem in the game or that an event goes very badly or has a lot of problems such as Soleil 1.0, are we not allowed to report on it? What if we feel that KOA is doing something wrong with the way they are doing something? Are we not allowed to report on that? And the answer we got was all problems can be reported to me, and then I will help solve them. This is the best way. Here, whether it is a problem you encounter or a problem you receive feedback from players, you can report it to me. I will communicate with Dev and promise to give you a feedback. Sorry, okay, then he was tired, so he didn't reply to everybody. Okay, so basically, we're not allowed to say anything negative. If there's a problem, we need to contact him. He will then contact the development team. He'll get an answer from the development team. He'll then come back to us and give us an answer, and we must take that as it is. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't work for me. If I find that there's a problem for a specific thing or something doesn't work in the game, as a content creator that has been servicing you guys, it's my job to make sure that I'm reporting accurately and on time for all that sort of information. So again, this is censorship with the threat of some sort of follow-up action if we don't follow their rules. A very big no-no in my opinion. Very, very big no-no. Now, of course, ethics and morals is situational. What I believe is ethical and moral, the next person might not. So it's not to say that they are wrong, but it is to say that I feel that they are wrong. As such, I'm making this video, and odds are I will be fired from the KOA content creator platform for it. So please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and hit the bell notification icon, because that's going to help me out immensely, especially considering they will no longer be supporting me or even contemplating supporting me. They haven't actually supported me yet, put it that way. Right, so the next thing I want to show you guys is going to be the actual strike itself, information on the strike itself. So now, I said to you guys that what they're asking for is actually not bad, and I'm going to go through it. This is the list of demands, and I'm going to go through and explain it as quickly as I can to you guys so you can understand, and then I will explain to you guys how you can participate if you want to. Okay. So reduce the widening gap. What they're talking about is that the exponential curve between pay to win and free to play is constantly getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, one of the recommendations here is part of the next one where it says adjust rewards on a monthly cycle. What they're saying is that we understand that KOA is a business and you want to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. But either reduce the frequency with which items come out, or make it that the free-to-play and low-spend players have an opportunity to get more equipment, sure, at a slower rate. So, for example, a new piece comes out. The first 2 honest passes that happen when a new item comes out includes fragments or parts or manuscripts for those items. And you can, over the 2 honest passes, get enough to have one of those items for free. But you're technically still paying for that. Not a lot, but you are technically still paying for that. Once you've got that first item, though, it takes a lot of players 4 to 6 months before they can start getting their second or third items and so on like that. And they're saying because of that, every month with a new item coming out, the free-to-play low-end and mid-end spenders are still trying to catch up for equipment or weapons and things like that came out 6 months ago, when all the paying guys have got everything over the last 6 months already. And they're saying that all they want to do is make it that it's more freely available. Not in terms of in a month everybody has all the equipment, but make it so that it is a bit more accessible and a bit easier to obtain, so it doesn't take 6 months to get one item, for example. Okay, sort of concept. The next one is provide faster means of troop recovery. This a lot of this is aimed particularly at the lower level players. They end up having situations where they try to participate in KVK, for example, and they get smashed really hard. And because they're small and they're new to the game, or they're low levels and that sort of thing, that hit hits really, really hard. And a lot of players end up quitting because it's going to take them a month or two to get all their troops back out of Avalon, and not Avalon, out of the Sanctum. That's it. Okay, so it takes so long to get your troops out of the Sanctum, and the amount of RSS needed to heal those troops, and the amount of speed ups needed to heal those troops, it just makes it that it is very difficult for the smaller players who have, for example, 500,000 troops altogether. One attack, they lose everything. A bigger player who is an SH41, for example, with 10 million troops, one attack is not going to kill him of everything, and he's more experienced to know how to get in and out and get around and things like that. So they're saying provide faster means of troop recovery. Merged and unmerged kingdom matching. So this is happening a lot. I have made a video recently on how to fix this if you are having this problem where you are being unfairly matched against merged kingdoms, for example, where your opponent is, the alliance is a 50 billion power alliance, and the strongest alliance you got is a 20 billion power alliance, for example. So they're asking for that to be fixed. Less pay-to-play focus on PvP events. Okay, now talking about things like KVK and that sort of thing, where the big spenders are the ones that are actually getting anything. If you're not a big spender, you're not going to be able to really get much. So they're saying things like improve the amount of rewards that you get from level 11 downwards, for example, with all these events, or increase the number of chests that you can give out from KVK so that more people are encouraged to participate and not look at it and go, well, there's only so many prizes. I'm only an SH26. What's the point of me even bothering to try? So if you can improve make it less pay to play focused on these events, you will have a lot more people participating in them. And that means in turn, a lot more people who are happy. And that means a lot more people who are more likely to spend something in the game. Golden RSS requirements in Soleil. It is extremely expensive still in Soleil to do things. If you are going into Soleil and you're going to do fighting, if you want to do fighting, which is kind of part of the point of Soleil, with the exception of you don't have that broken down safe area thing like you did last time. But anyway, that's a different matter for another video. It costs a lot of RSS and a lot of gold to do things in Soleil. If you want to go out there and fight and everything, yes, you get your 2 free cross area teleports a day, but that doesn't help you with all your speed ups. It doesn't help you with anything. And considering the event itself is a minimized time frame, in order to get all your points, in order to experience the most that you can, you have to push, and you have to push hard. So you end up spending a ton of gold in one foul swoop sort of thing. Reduce the amount of gold and RSS requirements in Soleil. Introduce graded recovery buff. So again, depending on how small or how big you are, especially the smaller players get affected a lot and they lose a lot of troops during kingdom raids, during kill events, during KBKs, things like that. If you introduce a graded recovery buff, so it depends on how many troops you've lost versus how big your actual SH is and things like that, you will have recovery buffs that apply to you to make it a bit easier so that the smaller players can recover quicker, so that the big players who have lost a ton of troops trying to defend their kingdom can potentially recover quicker from it. I know from the last KVK that I did, I ended up losing 2 million troops, and that 2 million troops took a hell of a long time to get back. So if we can introduce a graded recovery buff, it'll be fantastic. Next thing is smoother game performance. This was addressed by the KVK team recently, explaining about how many people are on the servers at once during KVKs and things like that, but it is something they're working on. No timeline date has been given yet. All we've been told is they're working on it and they're trying their best. Same thing with game bugs. Faster response time for customer support. Customer support is still atrocious. There are customer reports where I've logged a fault, and to this date have still not received a single feedback on that item that I logged, for example, or like in Soleil, where we're getting attacked from people in the gray area who should not be able to attack us, we're still getting attacked. We post it to the customer care and we show them screenshots and everything. This is where the guy is. This is where he's attacking. Then we tap on him to try and attack him, and it doesn't work. It says you're not allowed to attack him. And we show all those screenshots, and what the reply we got back from customer care was, it's impossible to do that. We're sorry you're feeling that experience. And that was it. It's impossible to do something that we've got physical proof, video footage, screenshots showing you that it's happening. And your answer is, it can't happen. So tough luck, basically. Customer support is very atrocious. They don't reply in time. They take at least twice as long as what's needed to actually resolve something. Firelands issues, for example, resolved after Firelands is over. What's the point of that? And then on top of that, the feedback we get from customer support is absolutely ridiculous as well. New PvP events or redesign existing events. They have also answered this, like redesign old popular events in like the UAC. And they've explained why the UAC doesn't work. Again, I made a video on this already. If you look at my channel, you'll see there is a video that's called something along the lines of the development team answers 6 of your most frequently asked questions. That's where they answer these green points, so that you can actually, if you want to look at it, you can go and have a look. I'll see if I can drop a card up at the top there for you as well. But they are working on UAC, for example. They've explained why it doesn't work, and they have also explained that they are going to be updating the reward system, or the manner in which you receive rewards, or the event itself of all these older PvP, PvE events. But they're going to be doing it on a which has got the loudest voice first scenario. So whichever event is getting the most hate, that will be done first, and then the next one is so on. And each of these events is going to take a long time because it's a lot of work. Again, no dates given. Next, introduce new PvP events and test in live kingdoms. The biggest thing here, this links to the next one, invite beta participation from kingdoms. The biggest thing here is that with Soleil 1.0, for example, a lot of kingdoms were told, right, this is the event that's coming to you and you have a beta test in it. You can join in, you can choose not to join in. But the problem is you have a lot of kingdoms who didn't want to join in, or weren't really sure, or where some players did, some players didn't. And that means that at the end of the day, the feedback they get is even more limited than if they actually opened up and said, right, guys, we have a new event. Which kingdoms are interested in participating? The kingdoms can then all put their name in a hat. They draw out whoever they want to from that list, and that way you'll know you'll have the correct kingdoms who actually want to participate in the beta test, and you'll get proper feedback from it. Fix the chat censorship. Chat censorship is an absolute dog's mess. We know that already at the moment. They have recently done some fixes, but there are still problems to it. It's exactly what it sounds like. Just fix the chat censorship. The next one is rewards and player growth in game for things like Portal, Monsters, Barbs, Fallen Knight rewards, Forbidden Labyrinth, Spirit Arena rewards. All of those things need to have updated rewards. The rewards we are getting are still from 10 upgrades ago, sort of thing. So what happens is we're using Hellsbane equipment now, which uses a ton of steel and a ton of meteorite, and the rewards we're getting from these events doesn't even come close, not even close to helping with any of that. You need to do these events for months on end until you get something that's going to help you, or potentially something that's going to help you. Your biggest bet is that you're going to be spending noble, or not noble, you're going to spend those keys for the honest pass so that you can get chests, which is going to give you more items than any PvE event inside the game. So they want these events, the rewards, to be updated to match the level that we're currently at. We're no longer on Warmonger. We are on Hellsbane. We need to have rewards that reflect how far we are in the game. The goods exchange is very limited in terms of, once again, where we are in the game. If you're on Hellsbane, for example, doing the 71 trades for 5k steel every day, that's not a lot. That's not going to get you anywhere, really. You need to have much higher levels than that. So they're saying, bring us to a point where we can do higher trades, bigger trades. Even if you do it, for example, if you're at Stronghold 16 and you get your trade station put up, fine, have a limited amount. But make it potentially part of the actual the trade post upgrades, that the amount that you can trade gets increased. So you get to SH26, you're going to be able to trade and receive more than you would at SH16 because you need more. When you get to SH30, you're going to have more than the 26. When you get to 40, you're going to have more than the 30. When you get to 45, you're going to have more than the 40. Each level that you go up, make it that your trades can be higher and that you can receive and trade higher amounts. Make it updated to match what we're doing and sitting with in the game. Increased rewards for rank 11 plus. Again, this is going back to what we said earlier. A lot of players do not participate in PvP and PvE events simply because the top 10 rewards are the only ones that are actually worth anything or potentially worth anything. Even they need desperate updates. But anything, I mean, if your top 10 is not really worth that much, imagine 11 onwards, and they don't participate. They say, what's the point? If I'm not going to get to top 10, why should I even bother? Please improve and increase the number of rewards for ranks 11 onwards. Increase the number of free training speeds. The free training speed ups were fine when we were creating T6, T7, T8 troops. Now that we're creating T11, 12, and 13 troops, the speed ups don't come anywhere near as close of an effect to being able to stay relevant in the game than they were before. Again, we understand this is a business, and at the end of the day, you need to make money. However, there's also a need for balance between how much money you make and how much you actually give back to the players. This is one of the things that needs to be desperately addressed, because creating 20,000 T12 troops takes 22 days or 25 days, depending on what equipment and heroes you've got and things like that. So, yeah, 25 days to make 20,000 troops compared to 16 days to make 20,000 troops, or compared to 10 days to make 20,000 troops. The speed up allowance needs to change according to what you are actually utilizing. Again, make it like with your Merlin rewards, make it that the level you are depicts how much you get of free items. If a player is at SH40 or 45, odds are they have spent money in the game. Potentially a lot of money in the game. Give them something back. If you're SH30, you've spent money in the game, probably somewhere along the lines. If you're SH10, sure, you're new to the game. You haven't really potentially spent any money to the game, so you're going to have limited amount of rewards. But give the players what they deserve in return. List of privileges enjoyed by the VIP. We want transparency. We want to know potentially, effectively, we want to know what are the requirements for the PvP levels? How many levels are there? And what do you get in return for being at that level? If you did that, you would probably get a lot more people who try to push to VIP. Let's say, for example, VIP level 1 is $10,000 a month. And you got somebody who's spending $9,000 a month. Now he finds out for that extra $1,000, which he's already spending 10 isn't such a big cry, he can get good rewards potentially. So odds are he's going to go and do that little bit extra to get to that next VIP level. But you don't want to have, people don't want to do it because they simply go, well, from what I hear, the rewards are crap, so I'm not going to waste all the extra money. Make it transparent. Tell us what it requires to get to those VIP levels, how many there are, and what items there are. Feedback regarding terms of service violations. All too often we get terms of service thrown in our face on Discord servers and things like that. For example, we sitting with a situation where lunar kingdoms are dying out. All new players that come into the game are only going to solar kingdoms. So what happens is lunar kingdom players trying to help and get more people involved in their kingdom. Now they're an old kingdom, which means they're grayed out. You can't join their kingdom. The only way to do it is to have somebody who's already in that lunar kingdom create a new account inside that kingdom and then bind it to an email address and password that you supply, for example. Then that gives you an account in an older lunar kingdom. Now, people have said, I'll help you do that because they're trying to grow their kingdom. This, once again, means more money for KOA. And we get hammered constantly for doing stuff like that or saying stuff like that because it's against the terms of service. Sharing an account is forbidden. Now, I think that's absolutely silly myself. You're getting more players in your game. You're getting more money in your game. I don't see why that is a situation. I understand the selling of accounts is forbidden. Somebody goes onto Facebook, and there are many of them that have been reported many, many times, selling an SH14 of one of the kingdoms with 15k stats, for example, for say $300. Okay. I understand them not wanting that to happen because that means the person who purchased that account for $300 is getting far more for that money than any other player is getting. Gives it an unfair balance. Plus, KOA no longer are going to get money from that guy. He's already got everything he needs, technically. So I do understand that part of it. But stopping us from allowing other players to participate in our kingdom simply by helping by creating an account for them, now, come on, that's just a bit silly. Especially considering we don't get feedback from terms of service reports where we have reported players for selling accounts on the Facebook pages that says King of Avalon, and nothing happens to them. Nothing. We have reported players who are racist constantly. Right now in my solar kingdom, and we got video footage of this, we have the Chinese going absolutely nuts, being so racist to everybody and killing everybody just because they are foreigners. Okay. And they have been reported at least 1,000 times, and not one of them has had anything happen to them, and we have not received feedback. I have spoken to our contact as a probationary content creator and said, this is the situation. I've been told many times the development team is going to do something. We're going to figure something out. We're going to do something. Well, it's been almost a month now and still nothing has been done. So stop throwing in our face that we can't do certain things in terms of service when you guys don't even give us feedback or do anything when people do violate terms of service. Escalation system for game chat. If somebody gets reported, like in this Solar Kingdom, Chinese Solar Kingdom, for example, where we report chat constantly every time that they make racist comments, and I'm not joking, this is thousands of times, okay? Nothing ever happens except the person has all their messages deleted and they can't post in KC for like 5 minutes or something like that, it seems. That's the extent of it. There needs to be an escalation system where the more a person gets reported, somebody actually looks into it, or that person is muted for 24 hours, for example, receiving a system mail to say your actions have gone against our terms of service and you will be muted for the next 24 hours. If you keep this up, your account will potentially be closed. But no, of course they don't do that. They don't do that because these guys are paying money. They're giving money over to KOA, and KOA is like, do what you want as long as you pay me. Future plans, growth trajectory for Lunar and Solar Kingdoms. Basically, as I mentioned before, no new players are going to Lunar. They're only going to Solar. Does this mean that Lunar is going to be phased out? We don't know. Anybody in a Lunar Kingdom who is sitting in a situation now where a lot of the kingdoms are dead, including kingdoms that have already merged or kingdoms that were supposed to merge and didn't, and we cannot get fresh blood into Luna because the KOA development team are not allowing any new players into Luna. That is exactly how you phase somebody out. Are they busy phasing out the Lunar Kingdoms? Is there going to be growth? The only thing we ever get in Lunar Kingdoms is more items to buy. But if they're busy phasing out the Lunar Kingdoms, nobody wants to spend anymore. And they don't want to say that, obviously, because that means they're not going to get money. But we deserve to know, are Lunar Kingdoms being phased out or not? Are you going to open the Lunar Kingdoms to growth and allow players to rejoin the old Lunar Kingdoms? We deserve to know. RSS in lab and spies for Kingdom 751 plus. In 751 plus, whenever you go to use your spy rewards and that sort of thing, there's no RSS available, but they are in the Kingdom 750 and lower. They're basically saying that's kind of unfair, especially considering we again end up getting paired against them often with merged versus unmerged, and they have far more access to RSS than anybody else does. We're asking for a balance that we can have those resources available from Kingdom 751 onwards as well. Left out of mergers, again, same thing. We were told everybody's getting merged in the Lunar Kingdoms. Then we were told only certain people were getting merged, but everybody within a certain bracket was getting merged. Then not everybody got merged, and it was a whole thing, it was a balls up. But there's a lot of people with a lot of dead kingdoms who are still desperately waiting to be merged, but that's because they won't allow new fresh blood to join Lunar Kingdoms. We want to either merge or open up Luna so that people can join. community involvement. They're asking for more direct community to developer involvement, meaning that there's a platform where the community can say to the development team, please change this, please do that, please fix this is a problem, etc., where the development team have a look at it and they try and fix it, or they give us a feedback or something like that. Something like this has been put in place in terms of you have the suggestions section of the Discord server that you can go to, you can put suggestions in, but there's never any feedback. We don't get feedback on what we suggest. So we would like to have it where we get feedback as well, please. Right, so those are the demands. And as you can, in my opinion, 100%, this is not unreasonable. This is not unfair. And if the KOA dev team actually did this, the amount of paying players they would get or increase by would far outweigh what they would lose by doing this. It is in their best interest to actually do this. Now, that being said, those are the terms and conditions. What can you do if you decide you want to be part of the strike? Okay. So basically on the 3rd of July during KBK, this is what the strike is. So we want to make it that as little to nobody is actually going to be losing troops or spending real money or gold in the game during KBK on the 3rd of July. So this is what you do. If possible, change the KBK alliance tags to name to make an alliance called Strike with STR, for example, or Strike with STK, for example, something along those lines. Have at least one shielded castle in the forest with the KBK alliance tag and the city name changed to Kingdom Number on Strike. So you change your alliance name to STR Strike. You change your name, just one person, change your name to Kingdom, in my case, 857, for example, on Strike, and you put that castle with a bubble on it right next to Avalon so that anybody who comes in can see it. On the day of KBK, attach your kingdom number to your line or WeChat ID or mandatorily drop your kingdom number in the strike room to facilitate coordination. So on the day, basically, you want to say, we are on strike so that if your opponents can see it or something like that, you guys can work together to either strike together or not, as the case might be. Defend your Avalon like normal when KBK starts. Set your mega garrisons. Do not provoke attacks anywhere, even on tiles, during the first hour. Communicate with matched participating kingdoms 24 hours before KBK to let them know about rogues who might attempt solo attack. Just to give them the heads up that this might actually happen, basically. And to explain to them that you're on strike. Maybe they haven't heard of the strike. Maybe you can get them to watch this video, for example, get them to join in, or convince them to, if they don't want to strike, convince them to take their Avalon only, for example, and then great, nobody loses troops, nobody spends money anyway. If matched against yellow or white kingdoms from the list, reach out and establish their position. So on the list, there's actually a link, and I'm going to share it in the description of this video, the link to this Discord channel, so you can join up if you want to. They've got links to show you who is actually already, which kingdoms have already said that they are participating in the strike. So if you are matched against one of those kingdoms, you can have a chat with them and say, right, we're going to join you in the strike, or we're not going to join you in the strike, and just be honorable upfront and let everybody know what's going on. Defense against non-participants is okay, but do not invade. Do not occupy other kingdoms' throne. Goal is to minimize troop loss. Consider giving up throne if matched against too strong an opponent. Individual rewards can be obtained if your opponents agree to friendly sparring. So you can still get your rewards, especially if your opponent agrees to everybody just takes their own Avalon for that one day. Now remember, guys, this is one day. I'm not asking for you guys to do this forever. We're just saying for one day do this. And the reason why it's so important to do this is they did this last year in 2020. And the development team actually made changes after that, because it hit them in the pocket. It hit them where it hurts. Now, if you are sitting there playing KOA and you are complaining about anything that I've mentioned on this list, you need to participate in the strike. Let's say, for example, your kingdom decides as a kingdom to not participate in a strike, but you do want to do it, or your alliance wants to do it, or you've got 100 people who want to do it. Let them do it. Let them go ahead and strike. It's up to you as an individual to decide. You don't have to participate. I will not be participating in this KVK. I can assure you that right now. And I know my alliance is not participating. Not one single member is participating. We're still in discussion of whether our entire kingdom will be going on strike or not, but we will not be participating whatsoever because we agree with the list. And we've got some of the biggest spenders in our kingdom, in our alliance, and they will not be spending a cent on that day. So that is everything you need to know about the KOA strike. Again, I will drop a link to this Discord channel in the chat down below. It'll be right on top of everything else so that you can jump into the server, you can join in, discuss it with your kingdom. I know it's very short notice, but I did have to try and balance the concept of, do I give this to you guys and lose my position as a content creator with KOA, or do I not, basically, you know? I cannot abide to censorship in any way, shape, or form. I do not agree with it whatsoever, and as such, I had to bring you this video. So please hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification icon. I'm going to need the help. If you do want to join in on this, go to the link in the description, go to the Discord server, sign up, join the strike itself, and let's show the KOA development team that we are serious, that we want changes in the game. Right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I know it was a bit of a long one, but there was a lot to cover, and this is a very important topic. So please, I hope you made it this far. Guys, if you have made it this far, actually, put the word, just put strike 2021 in the chat, just so I know how many people made it this far. Right, guys, other than that, I'm going to sign off. Until the next video, guys, be good, be well, and be safe. Bye.